I parked my truck to streets from the Hart House and rubbed my hands against my pants, telling myself I could survive one more dinner with Diana Hart. Evelyn opened the door before I knocked. "You're late," she said, by 2 minutes. "Please don't start tonight." I stared at her. "I haven't said anything yet." "That's what I'm asking for. Keep it that way inside." The house looked too polished to breathe in. Diana stood by the table with 2 church guests. Adrian leaned against the bar, smiling like trouble. Victor held a glass by the window. Lily gave me a nervous nod that Diana looked me over. "Nathan, how nice that you found time to change." "Evening," I said. She smiled without warmth. "Sit." A guest asked about my work. I said I supervised city sanitation routes. He nodded. "That sounds important." Diana lifted her glass. "Public work is always important. Somebody has to do the dirty jobs." Adrian laughed. Evelyn touched my knee under the table. "Ignore her," she whispered. A minute later Diana looked at my hands. "You missed a spot." I frowned. "What?" "That mark on your knuckle. Dirt settles deep, I suppose." "It's grease," I said. "Of course," she said lightly. "My mistake." Lily looked down. Victor said nothing, then Diana smiled at the guests and said, "Marriage needs stability, reputation, shared values." "You mean money?" I said. "I mean standards, Mom," Lily whispered. Diana ignored her. "My daughter was raised with expectations." Evelyn breathed in beside me. "Nathan, please let it go." I turned to her. "Let what go?" Diana answered for her. "My daughter was not raised to marry a garbage man." I heard Evelyn whisper, "Please don't," as if my pain was the embarrassing part. I stood up slowly. My hands were shaking. "You want honesty? Fine, let's be honest. If we're talking about shame, maybe explain the overdue loans, or the second mortgage, or the collectors who keep calling Victor Victor's." Glass slipped in his hand. Adrian shoved his chair back. "Watch your mouth." I faced him. "Then tell me I'm wrong." He didn't. I looked at Diana. "You looked down on me while your whole family drowned behind polished walls. I was the only honest thing at this table." Diana pointed to the door. "Get out." "Gladly," I said. I pulled the ring box from my pocket, closed my fist around it, and walked out before I broke in a way I could not hide. Behind me, Evelyn called my name. I did not stop. I had almost reached my truck when Evelyn caught my arm. "Nathan, wait." I turned. "What?" She looked angry, shocked, and somehow offended. "What the hell was that?" "Your mother called me a garbage man in front of guests, and you exposed private family problems." I stared at her. "That's your answer? You humiliated us." "Us? Yes. Do you know what people will say?" I waited for her to say she was sorry. She never did. "Why would you do that to me?" she asked. The words landed like a slap. "To you. You should have walked away." I did walk away after your mother tried to crush me and you asked me to sit there and take it. Evelyn crossed her arms. "You know how she is. That's the problem." Mom was upset. I laughed. "And what was I? Decorative?" She looked away. "You could have handled it better." Something inside me loosened. "Go back inside." I said. "Don't do this." "Do what?" "Notice that you still think this happened to you?" Her face hardened. "You're being unfair." "Maybe." "Good night, Evelyn." At home I sat in the dark with the ring box, moving it from the table to my pocket and back again. It felt too heavy for something so small. The next morning Ben found me near the loading bay before sunrise. "You look awful," he said. "Thanks." He handed me coffee. "Evelyn?" I nodded. "Her family again?" This time I finally answered back. Ben took a slow breath. "Good." I looked up. "That's it?" "No, here's the rest. A person who loves you does not ask you to swallow your pride forever. Compromise is normal. Disappearing is not." I looked down at the cup and said nothing. By afternoon I was helping cover a route when Mrs. Gomez waved from her steps with 2 grocery bags. "Nathan, save an old woman." I took the bags from her. Upstairs, she watched my face while I set them down. "Who hurt you?" she asked. "Is it that obvious?" "Only on good men. The cruel ones hide better." I told her enough to explain the bruise inside me. She patted my hand. "Good men are always mocked before they are missed." "What if they never miss me?" She held my gaze. "Then they never deserve you." That night Victor Hart called. I almost ignored it, but I answered. For a long second he said nothing. Then he whispered, "You should not have said it there. But you were not wrong." Victor asked me to meet him at a diner near the old highway. He was already there with cold coffee. "How bad is it?" I asked. He rubbed his forehead. "Worse than you think. We took loans against the house. Then another one." Adrian said he had investment plans. Diana said everything would look stable again if we just held on. "You let Adrian handle money?" Victor looked ashamed. I let Diana believe him. Same result. He nodded. "There are unpaid taxes, private lenders, missed payments everywhere. One lender has started calling the house directly." I thought of Diana talking about standards over polished plates. "And she still acts like I'm the unstable one." Victor's mouth tightened. "Pride makes frightened people cruel." That doesn't excuse her, no. My phone buzzed. Evelyn, I silenced it. Victor saw the screen. She's under pressure too. Is she under pressure or embarrassed? He had no answer when I left the diner. Evelyn called again. I answered before I could change my mind. Nathan, this gossip has to stop, she said. People are asking questions. Mom is furious. Adrian says you planned this. Planned what? Being insulted. Can you help fix it? Make a statement. Say you exaggerated. Say emotions were high. I stopped walking. You want me to apologize publicly. I want you to fix this if you love me. Everything inside me went quiet. If you love me, fix this. Not I'm sorry. Just fix this. Love should not sound like blackmail, I said. Don't be dramatic. There it is again. You don't understand the pressure we're under. I understand more than you think. I hung up. The next day I met Sarah Kim after work. We knew each other from night school. Now she worked in debt recovery. She took one look at me and said, that family finally exploded, huh? Half the city heard, probably. What do you need? Truth. What do desperate families do when they're trying to look stable? Sarah leaned back. They delay payments, move money around, and announce happy future events, weddings, partnerships, charity programs, anything that makes outsiders believe help is coming. A chill moved through me. Weddings. Investors love appearances, she said. So do frightened people, and when polished families start sinking, they look for soft places to land. Don't become one. That night I lay awake thinking about the dinner, the engagement, and Evelyn's careful smiles. I had thought I was fighting over one ugly evening. Now I wondered if I had ever really been a future husband in that house, or just the useful fool. Standing in front of a collapsing wall, Lily texted me 2 days later. Can we meet? Alone we met in a quiet park near the university. Thanks for coming, she said. You sounded scared. I am, Nathan. I'm sorry. You didn't insult me. I didn't stop it either. I sat beside her. Neither did anyone else. She looked down. What happened at dinner wasn't just Mom being cruel. I heard her tell my aunt that Evelyn marrying you would calm rumors for a while. And if someone better came later, she could still do better. My throat went dry. Better, her word, Lily said, and Mom wants Evelyn Nero and Pierce. He's been showing up everywhere. She thinks if he gets close, people will believe money is still coming in. I laughed once. But there was nothing funny in it, so I was the safe choice until a richer one appeared. Lily's eyes filled. I'm sorry, why tell me this now, she said, because it's getting worse. Mom and Adrian have been pressuring Dad to use my trust fund. They keep saying it's temporary. I turned to her. Your education money. Yes, that's not temporary. That's theft in polite clothes. She gave a broken laugh. You always say things like that. Maybe because they keep being true. Lily stared at the ground. If you expose everything, I get hurt too. I just needed you to know that. That hit me hard. I had imagined public revenge. But Lily was standing inside that fire too. I rubbed my face. You shouldn't have to ask me to remember you're not them, but do you? I looked at her. Yes. That evening I met Sarah outside her office. So now you have proof of rot and a reason to hesitate. She said, feels like losing either way. That's because revenge sounds neat before real people get caught under it. If you do it for the right reason, not because your anger wants a show. Later, Evelyn called. I miss you. She said. I leaned against my kitchen counter. That would mean more if every other sentence from you didn't sound like your mother wrote it. That's unfair. Maybe, she sighed. You knew how to handle her. You could have stayed calm. I laughed. There it is. You say you miss me, but you still think I should have known how to behave. She went silent. Then she whispered, I wanted peace. No, I said, you wanted me to pay for it. After I ended the call, I stood in the dark, no longer asking how to win, only what kind of man I wanted to be when this was over. Diana asked to meet me at a hotel lounge downtown. Her text said we should settle this like adults. I knew it was a trap before I walked in. She was already there in pearls and cream, sitting perfectly straight. Nathan, she said, thank you for coming. Let's skip the fake part. Her smile thinned. Very well. What happened at dinner was unfortunate. That's one word for it. You felt insulted. I was insulted. She slid a thick envelope across the table. I did not touch it. What is that? A practical solution. You're offering me money. I'm offering you perspective. Men in your line of work are usually practical. There it was again. My job, never my name. How much? I asked. Enough for discretion. Enough to help you move on. For a second, I thought about every bill it could pay. Then the truth hit me so clearly it almost calmed me. She had never seen me as family. I pushed the envelope back. Keep it. Don't be foolish, she said. Don't be insulting. You are confusing pride with morality, and you confuse money with worth. Her eyes sharpened. You could have had a good life with Evelyn if you had learned restraint. I stood. If that life required me to crawl, it was never good. When I stepped outside, Evelyn was waiting. Did you take it? She asked. I stared at her. That's your first question, Nathan. Please answer me. No, she exhaled hard. Why do you make everything harder than your mother? Trying to buy my silence? She was trying to fix things. I almost smiled. You really believe that? She folded her arms. You always take things too personally. I laughed because if I did not, I might have broken right there on the sidewalk. Personally? Your mother attacked my work, my worth, my place in your life. And do you think my flaw is taking it personally? She looked away. That was answer enough. The next morning, Ben found me staring at an application form. What's that? District operations role. He grinned. About time. Stop acting like the ceiling belongs over you. Later, Mrs. Gomez handed me an old brass keychain. My husband carried it for 40 years, she said. He never let rich people teach him his worth. You shouldn't either. By the time I got home, something had changed. I had not just refused Diana's money. I had refused the part of myself that kept begging for respect from people who were never going to give it. I did nothing, and the heart still started falling apart. Rumors spread on their own. A florist complained about late payments. A contractor mentioned a bounce transfer. Owen stopped showing up. Even people at work asked if the Harts were selling the house. Then Lily called me during my shift. Nathan, she said, crying so hard I could barely hear her. Dad collapsed. My grip tightened on the phone. Where are you? St. Mary's. Adrian took more money. Dad found out. Mom started screaming and then he just dropped. I looked at the trucks, the crew, the clipboard in my hand. Then I said, I'm coming. When I reached the hospital, Lily was pacing the waiting room. She ran to me and hugged me. I'm sorry. She whispered, I know you shouldn't have to be here. Stop saying that. Where's Evelyn? With Mom arguing. A minute later, Evelyn appeared and stopped when she saw me. You came, she said. Lily called. For 1 second, her face softened. And I hated that it still reached me. Then Diana walked in behind her. What is he doing here? She asked. Lily lifted her chin. I asked him to come. This is family business. I looked at Diana. Funny, crisis usually makes truth louder, not quieter. Evelyn stepped between us. Please. Not here. A doctor came out before Diana could answer. Family of Victor Hart. He's stable. Stress collapse, high blood pressure, extreme exhaustion. He needs rest and less conflict. In that hallway, less conflict almost sounded like a joke. Victor asked for me before anyone else. That stumped them all. Inside his room, he looked smaller than I had ever seen him. Why me? I asked. He gave a tired half smile. Because you were right. I stayed quiet while Diana built our life on appearances. And every time Adrian failed, I let her call it temporary. That silence didn't save anyone. I said, I know. It taught Evelyn the worst lesson a family can teach, that comfort matters more than courage. That one hurt because it was true. When I stepped back into the hallway, Diana demanded, what did he say to you? The truth, I said. Lily let out a broken laugh. Mom, Adrian is stealing. Dad is in a hospital bed. And you still think Image is the emergency? Diana slapped her. Don't, I said, stepping forward. Evelyn grabbed her mother's wrist. Mom, stop. Diana looked shaken. I put my arm around Lily while she trembled. Walking out of the hospital, I understood something ugly. My anger had not erased the years I spent loving that family or the version I thought was real. That was why it still hurt and why I still came when they called. But karma had already started its work and the final fall was still coming. Sarah called me the next week and asked me to come by her office after hours. When I arrived, she locked the door and put a folder on the desk. I'm not giving this to you officially, she said. I'm showing you enough to understand what kind of fire you're standing near. I opened the folder. Forged approvals, transfer records, account names that meant nothing to me. How bad is it? I asked. Bad enough that Adrian may face charges. He forged signatures. Diana routed debt through shell accounts to delay creditors. And some of the money nearly swallowed in the mess should have gone nowhere near the family's reach. Lily's trust. Sarah nodded. I sat down hard. There's more, she said. The charity gala next weekend? It isn't only charity, it's theater, one more polished event to buy sympathy, calm rumors, and keep investors close. I stared at the papers. I could go public, hand everything over quietly, or walk away and let the house collapse on its own. Sarah watched my face. Truth and cruelty are not the same thing. Don't confuse them. That night Evelyn asked to meet. We stood outside the church hall where volunteers were hanging banners for the gala. She wrapped her coat tight around herself. Please don't do anything rash, public, humiliating, destructive. I looked at her for a long moment. You still think the problem is the insult? She frowned. What else would it be? Values, I said. Your mother did not just insult my job. She revealed what your family worships: money, status, appearances, people as tools. Even now, you're more afraid of embarrassment than what was done. Her eyes filled. That's not fair, isn't it? I loved you. The ache of Hearing that almost knocked the breath out of me. Maybe you did, I said. But love without courage turns into betrayal faster than people admit. She covered her mouth. What are you going to do? I looked past her at the banner over the doors, a night of giving. I almost laughed. Then I looked back at her. I'm going to tell the truth. Please don't destroy my family. I shook my head. I'm not the one who did that. She reached for my arm. I stepped back. If even one part of you still cares about me, there is. I said, that's why I won't lie for you. I left her standing under the lights. On the walk home, the folder felt heavy, but my mind felt calm for the first time in weeks. I would not answer pain with pain. I would answer lies with truth. Asterisk, the gala filled a hotel ballroom with expensive flowers and people who smiled too easily. I almost turned back. Then I remembered Diana's voice. My daughter was not raised to marry a garbage man, so I walked in. I saw Owen near the front, Lily alone in a dark dress, Victor gray and tired, Evelyn pale beside her mother. Then Diana noticed me because she had learned nothing. She smiled and said, loud enough for people nearby to hear. Some people do not know when they are out of place. Heads turned. A week earlier I might have exploded. This time I stepped closer and kept my voice steady. You're right, I said. Truth has been out of place in your family for years. Diana's eyes flashed. Security, no. Victor said. It was not loud, but it stopped her. I lifted the folder. You mocked my work like honesty was something dirty, so let's be honest. The Hart family is buried in debt. The house is under multiple loans. Payments were hidden through shell accounts. Adrian forged signatures. And money meant for Lily's future was put at risk to keep this performance alive. Gasps moved through the room. Adrian appeared with a drink in his hand. You liar. I held up the papers. Then tell them to check the records. Diana stepped forward, white with fury. You have no idea what you're talking about, don't I? Should I mention the second mortgage too, or the private lenders calling the house? Owen looked at Victor. Is this true? Nobody answered. Lily started crying. Evelyn whispered, Nathan, please. I turned to her. Please what? Save you again? Victor's voice shook when he spoke. Enough, he is telling the truth. Diana grabbed his arm. Victor, stop. He pulled away. No. I should have stopped years ago. Owen's face hardened. You asked me to consider a partnership while this was happening. Diana lifted her chin. Temporary difficulties do not erase a family's standing. Owen gave a cold laugh. No, but lies do. He walked away. The room broke. Guests stepped back. Whispering spread. Adrian threw his glass at the wall. Lily flinched. Evelyn covered her mouth. Diana looked at me with naked hatred. Are you satisfied? No, I said. Satisfied would mean I wanted this for pleasure. I didn't. I wanted it to stop. Evelyn stepped toward me, tears falling. Nathan, she said my name like I could still save her. But I was not there to save her anymore. I was there to stop letting them bury me under their shame. I laid the folder on the nearest table and walked out. Nobody tried to stop me. Months changed everything. Adrian faced charges after the forged transfers surfaced in full. Diana stayed proud, but people stopped returning her calls. And pride looks smaller when no one is left to admire it. Victor sold the house and moved across town. Lily protected what remained of her trust and started a life that had nothing to do with pretending. I got the district operations job on my first day in the new office. He leaned in the doorway and grinned. They finally put you where you belong, he said. Behind a desk? No, above idiots. I laughed harder than I had in months. I still woke before dawn. I still smelled like trucks, rain, and pavement some days, but I stopped apologizing for it, even in my own head. Then Evelyn asked to meet one last time. We met by the river at sunrise. She looked thinner, but softness was not courage. Thank you for coming, she said. What do you need to say? She held herself for a second, then whispered, I did love you. I believed her. That was the hardest part because it changed nothing. I know, I said. Her eyes filled. Then how can you sound so calm? Because I finally understand. Something I didn't before. Love can be real and still not be enough. I was scared, she said. I kept thinking if I kept peace a little longer, everything would settle down. I gave her a sad smile. Peace built on silence is just fear with nicer clothes. A tear slipped down her face. Do you think we ever had a chance? Maybe? But when it mattered most, you asked me to endure what should have ended everything. I can't build a life on that. She nodded slowly. I reached into my pocket and took out the ring box. Her breath caught. You kept it too long. I opened the box. The ring caught the first line of morning light. For months it had felt heavy, like a promise rotting from the inside. Nathan. I looked at her one last time. You loved me in the best way you knew how. But love without courage left me standing alone. I can't go back to that. She cried silently. I turned toward the river and through the ring. We watched it disappear. I waited for triumph. It never came. What came instead was lighter than revenge and stronger than grief. Release, so this is it, Evelyn whispered. Yes. She wiped her face. I hope you're happy. I looked down at my hands. The same hands I had once wanted to hide. Then I smiled. I think I'm finally free, I said. When I walked away from the river, the sun was rising behind me. For the first time in a long time, I was not asking to be chosen. I had chosen myself.